Today, we're diving into a really fascinating story that pits two completely different ideas of freedom against each other. It's a philosophical case study about a trap, but it's probably not the kind of trap you're thinking of. So let's get right into it.
So, this quote, this is from Ngoc Patti, one of our main characters. And her philosophy, wow, it's radical, it's compelling, and honestly, it's really seductive. I mean, who wouldn't want total independence? No rules, no expectations, just the freedom to do whatever you want.
But that brings us to the big question, right? Is that real freedom? Or is chasing every single impulse actually a trap, a really sophisticated one? We're going to unpack exactly how this seemingly liberating idea can turn into a kind of prison.
Okay, so let's get into the core conflict. At the heart of this whole thing, you've got two people on completely opposite journeys. First, there's Monk. He's all about living a life of service, doing good for others. And then you've got Ngoc Patti, and her goal is to basically pull him over to her side, to get him to see the world her way.
And yeah, their philosophies could not be more different. For Ngoc Patti, it's all about absolute freedom to do whatever she wants, no morality, no strings attached. Thurmont, on the other hand, is walking a completely different path, one based on helping other people.
Now, within the framework of this story, her philosophy gets a specific name. It's called a wrong view, or takien. And this isn't just like, oh, we disagree. No, it's positioned as a deep philosophical mistake. It's seeing something that causes pain and calling it happiness. It's a complete inversion of reality.
So, how does she even begin to try and win him over? Well, this isn't just some friendly debate. The way the story lays it out, it's a very deliberate process. It's a system, a kind of trap.
Her method is almost like a playbook. First, she tries to invalidate his entire reality, basically telling him his good deeds are just him running away from something. Then she presents her idea of freedom as this amazing, superior way to live, and finally, she just keeps reinforcing it day in and day out with books and conversation. It's not a discussion, it's an indoctrination campaign.
But you know what? It doesn't work. The intellectual arguments just bounce right off him. His own moral compass is just too strong. Deep down, they're just not wired the same way. If she was going to get through to him, she needed a different angle. The trap needed a different kind of bait.
And then that bait arrives in a totally unexpected way. There's this moment where a woman gets bitten by a venomous snake. Turing, for all his good intentions, is totally helpless. But Ngoc Patti, she's a trained medic. She swoops in and with total skill and expertise saves the woman's life. It's this incredible, genuine act of goodness, and that changes everything.
So, in that moment, what's he thinking? What does he admire? It's not her philosophy. He's not thinking about her books. No, he's admiring her skill, her competence, the fact that she was genuinely able to help when he couldn't. Her act of kindness was just more effective, more real. And that's what gets him.
There's a term for this, rejoicing in merit. And it's usually a really positive thing, right? Admiring someone else's good work. But here, it acts like a Trojan horse. It's a back door. Because he admires her action so much, he suddenly becomes vulnerable to her ideas. It opens a crack in his defenses, and he starts to become a little more receptive to her whole philosophy. Okay, and this is where we get to the real philosophical heart of the story. The big showdown between two totally different ideas of what it even means to be free. First up, you've got Ngoc Patti's version. Let's call it Freedom 2. This is the freedom to do whatever you want, to follow every impulse, satisfy every desire, break any rule. I mean, on the surface, that sounds like the ultimate dream, right? Total liberation. But the story throws a curveball. It contrasts her idea with something totally different. Freedom from. And this is the idea that maybe, just maybe, true freedom isn't about getting everything you want. Maybe it's about being free from the wanting itself. Free from that constant nagging urge. It's an inner peace that doesn't depend on anyone or anything outside of you.
And when you look at it this way, it just flips the whole concept of freedom on its head. Suddenly, Ngoc Patti's path doesn't look like liberty anymore. It looks like bondage, like being a slave to your own endless desires. The result isn't peace.
It's just this constant, frantic search for the next hit, which ultimately just leads to suffering.
So what's the end game here? What's the real cost of chasing this alluring but maybe false idea of freedom? Where does her path actually go?
Well, it doesn't lead to happiness. It doesn't lead to wisdom. It leads to a state of deep, inescapable suffering. She got exactly what she wanted, the freedom to do anything, but she finds out that satisfying one desire just creates another and another. It's a chain that ends in this kind of unbearable pain where there's nowhere to run.
But here's the key thing. Just feeling the pain isn't enough to learn from it. She's in agony, but she can't see why. She doesn't understand the root cause. So she blames the world, she blames other people, she blames everything except the one thing that's actually responsible, her own core belief system. And because she can't see that fundamental truth, that the problem isn't out there, it's in here, in her wrong view, she's completely trapped. She's just stuck in a loop, destined to repeat the same painful mistakes over and over, always looking for an external fix for an internal problem.
All right, so let's bring this all together. What's the ultimate lesson here? For the characters in the story, and maybe for us too.
The path to real wisdom, it seems, isn't about trying to dodge pain. It's about understanding it. You have to really see that your own beliefs, your own wrong view, are what's causing the suffering. The story is basically saying that for some people, the only way to really truly learn is to walk the wrong path and experience the dead end for yourself.
And you know, even for Ngoc, he had to get pulled into the trap too. It was only by coming so close to falling for it that he could get a real gut-level understanding of something he only knew on a theoretical level before. It's like both of them had to learn through direct and sometimes painful experience.
And that brings us to this really beautiful and powerful final quote. The sea of suffering is boundless, but a turn of the head is the shore. What a line. It's saying that the path of suffering can go on forever, but the way out, the escape, is just a simple shift in perspective. It's always right there, just a turn of the head away.
And so we're left with a pretty powerful question, not just for the characters, but for us. What kind of freedom are we actually chasing in our own lives? Is it the freedom to run after every single desire? Or is it the freedom from being constantly chased by our desires? Which path is the endless sea? And which one is the shore?